TrueLight𓋹TruePeace in War Times. This video is called "Is the Year 2025 AD a Regular Year?" NEY 60, Noon Ethiopian Year. Noopooh 96, 6/2022. 2 years, 7 months, and 14 days to Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. 19 degrees Aries, 34 minutes, 41 seconds. Alright, here is the natal chart for February 5th, 2025. Let's begin. Alright, here you can see all of the placements, which I'm going to go through these placements one by one. Listen to Sunrise, Satuna, Saturn, Reason. Above will be the position of us, the Ennead 9 orbs at 6:03 a.m. February 5th, 2025 AD from this writer's location. This doesn't mean he, Satuna, Jutah, Kino, Noopooh, Black Karma, Justice Power will be there at that time. However, I, Satuna, Saturn desires to make a few things known as to give you all a clearer picture of what to expect at that time on a mundane level. So when you notice these things collapsing leading up to that point, the cataclysm will be in full effect from the days leading up to February 5th, 2025. Now the circle placements are color coded for easier ways to find what I, Satuna, will point out. We shall start from the right on the left. Excuse me. The first placement is Pluto, which isn't a planet in Noon science, and scientists also agree. It is a name for ghost god Osiris, underworld god, and Tahuti moon god, who both influence astrologers and scientists to put them in the high ranks as an orb planet, the same way they both lied in ancient Kemet, Egypt, and had themselves entered as one of us back then, Osiris as one of the Ennead. So this is the first Atum, Shu, Tefnut, Ger, Nut, Osiris, Isis, Set, Nephthys, Horus, and Tahuti is part of the Ogdoad. Thoth, Tahuti, Dichihuti, Tahuti, Tehuti, Zehuti, Tetu was one of the earliest Egyptian gods. He was popular throughout Egypt, but was particularly venerated in Khnum, Hermopolis Magna, where he was worshipped as part of the Ogdoad. As the power of his cult grew, the myth was rewritten to make Thoth the creator god. According to his variant, Thoth in the form of an ibis, one of his sacred animals, laid an egg from which Ra, Atum, Nefertum, or Khepri was born. Ogdoad of Hermopolis. These are the first 4. These are the second 4, making 8. Side note, paintings on the temple of the Dendera ceiling. Listen to Reason. Remember Satuna, Tarkina, Noopooh, Black Karma Power show how these images of us 8 deities were actually orbs and planets in his video of the Book of Jutah Part 6. So how can Tahuti, a moon god who is a spear, be an orb or planet? Clearly Thoth told a lie. So you get down here, you keep going. Now we talk about the planets. So we finna jump down here in the temple and stuff where they talk about the Dendera, because we already know that all this is about the planets and things like that. So you get down here, look at this. This is in the Dendera temple, Saturn on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. See? When you look in the Dendera, these are the planets. This is Saturn the bull. Because the ancients knew that the planets were the gods. Look at this. Horus. Jupiter on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. Private image. See, Afro knew what he was talking about because the orbs was telling him. Jupiter was telling him the same stuff. That's why he wrote it. And this is where I was able to find it at. So this is Jupiter. Beautiful. Look at this. Another Horus. Who is this? Mars. On the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. Look at that. Y'all got to get it together. Look at that. It's beautiful. Look at that. A double-headed person. A head of the... Who's this? See Venus on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. These are planets. You know what this is called? It's called anthropomorphism. When the ancients personified these orbs into human or animal-like figures. But this also represent them and the fact that they incarnated spiritually into people. Look at this. Who is this? Mercury on the ceiling of the temple of Dendera. Look at that. Beautiful. And I think all the 5 stars represent planets too when you get into digging into this stuff. Is this the last one? Mars on the ceiling of the temple of Esna. Private message. See? Listen to reason. Each zodiac house we reside in will be affecting the lives of humanity at this time. We see Mary Mercury, the goddess of communication, will be in Aries' first house. This means Mary will affect communication in those areas. And also this is the first house too. So everything that deals with subjective self-awareness, which is communicating with self, personality, which is the mask, identity, self-image, projected to others, self-expression, outer expression. So these things here in this house, those who are not going to make it is going to experience poor or confusion communication about who their real self is. And those who will make it will receive positive communication about self-awareness, personality, identity, self-image. They won't be projecting to others, self-expression, outer expression. All those will be positive for those to be prepared before this day come. All right, which is happening now. All right. Noopooh, the sun, represents the ego, and self-awareness will affect this section in the first house of humanity as well. All right. Remember, I'm breaking down from this way to this way. So we just did Mercury and the sun. So we out of that. Now we moving on to this one here in the second house. Saturn will bring good karma to the second house for those who will survive, and bad karma for those who earned it. Neptune will bring the spiritual awareness to those who will survive, and illusion for those who will not survive. So we go into the second house, right? And we're gonna go. I'm gonna get to that in a second. So let me jump back up just for clarity. See, this is the second house. So resources gonna be messed up. Resourcefulness is gonna be messed up for the guilty. Self-esteem gonna be messed up for the guilty. Values and valuables gonna be messed up for the guilty. Material security gonna be messed up for the guilty. Attitudes toward possessions will be messed up for the guilty. But everything else is gonna be ready. It's gonna be positive for those who are innocent. All right. So those of us who don't have resources, resourcefulness, self-esteem, values, valuables, material security, attitude towards possession, all that is flip moding. Because the 60 years of everything they needed to transition from February 5th, 2022, from February 5th, 1962 to February 5th, 2022, everything was done in order to break certain things out of the way to allow the innocent to be able to get up out of here. All right. So let's look at this right here. This North Node is in the second house. The North Node in Pisces, the second house, will bring in awareness to those who will survive and gross ignorance to those who will not survive. North Node in Pisces brings the conflict between transcendental effort and everyday reality, between chaos and order, and between spirituality and reason. These people need to open up their spirituality and imagination. They need to escape the constraints of the usual and explainable and be open to the unusual and unexplainable. They need to go beyond the rational and analytical, development imaginative powers and spiritual awareness. They should stop working so hard and find time for themselves. They should learn to make self-sacrifice and show love for other people. Beware of morbid obsession with order, cleanliness, and rejection of everything that is in not perfect order or cannot be explained. All right, so this is gonna add on to what is going on in the second house. All right, so now we're moving on to Chiron in Aries. No, we're not. We're moving to Venus in Aries. All right, Venus in Aries, third house, will bring positive love and war. Mars, between those who survive, and negative war and hate between those who were not, because they were the guilty for hundreds of years plotting against the innocent. All right, so you know that Venus is the planet of love, money, family, stuff like that. So her being in Aries, which is the third house here in the natal, she's gonna bring problems, because look at what it does. See, it deals with what? The mind. So instead of having a loving mind, it's gonna be a hate mind. See, a mindset, it's going to be the opposite in the negative. The positive is going to be for people who's going to be allowed to wake up, which is happening now, or be ready. So you're going to have a loving mindset versus a negative mindset. You're going to have, instead of negative thinking, it's going to be positive thinking. They're going to have negative thinking. Speaking and writing style is going to be positive. The guilty is going to be negative. For learning, it's going to be positive. For the guilty, it's going to be negative. Interactions with siblings is going to be positive, and it's going to be negative for them, because remember, all of these families, these secret societies, and all these so-called generations of people keeping wealth in the family, all of that is breaking down right now. All of their families is turning on each other, and they're losing the hate, they losing the love that they had, because they was utilizing spirit forces and everything else. Now everything is switching over, so other people can really come together and unite in the classes that they're supposed to get ready to survive. And then you got communication. It's going to go from loving communication to hateful communication. So it's all switching. All right. All right. So now we move to Chiron in Aries. All right. Chiron in Aries in the third house will cause humanity who will survive to fight to heal their wounds from past issues, and those who caused them will be wounded and not survive the cataclysm as punishment for harming others in the planet. If you don't know about Chiron is in your natal chart, and whatever house it is in, and on your natal chart, that's the area of life where you're going to experience that wake-up call. You're going to have pain in that life when you were younger, but then Chiron comes back at a certain time in your life and makes you revisit that wound again, and it's so deep it causes you to really look inside because of the traumatic experience, and then you go inward and start to realize that this was something that you got to heal. So on a bigger scale, what Chiron represent is a wound, and since it's going to be in Aries is a fire sign, war. So the guilty people, whatever they had in their natal chart, will now become not healed. They will become more and more in pain from the trauma. The trauma situations that surround them will cause them to go into more traumatic experiences, while those of us who experience trauma because a lot of the things that they were doing on a lower level will start to heal, which we're healing now with sound, right reasoning, correct information, and learning how to heal yourself. All right, it's going to be opposite, switching. Alright, so now we're going in the moon in the Taurus in the fourth house. ZoopooH, the moon, will unite the roots of families, mentally, spiritually, physically, for those who will survive the cataclysm, and destroy the roots of families that contributed to doing harm to the innocent. Alright, Uranus will also contribute the same efforts as the moon, because they're both in Taurus. Alright, so you look into the moon and Uranus, they have similar qualities in astronomy. Astrology. See, now this is home. See, the private life gonna be messed up for the guilty. The private life for the innocent will be positive. The roots, the heritage is gonna be positive. It's gonna be negative for the guilty. Family life, psychological, is gonna be positive. It's gonna be opposite for the guilty. Foundation, subconscious, and patterns, that's gonna be positive for the innocent and negative for the guilty. All right. Now we move to Jupiter in Gemini, because she in Gemini. Jupiter in Gemini, the fourth house, will disrupt these parts of humanity. Love affairs, so it's going to switch. Now remember, switch. So love affairs that the guilty was enjoying, like Puff and all these people, they just running around dating whoever they want. You know what I'm saying? All these millionaires able to take other people's women and or other women taking other people's men, destroying households because they got the money to do so. All of that is switching out. All their riches is being taken from them. A lot of that stuff is switching over. All right. Love affairs, romance, sex, sexuality, creativity, art, dating, play, playfulness, children, spontaneity, fun, diversity, and the spotlight. These things were misused by Leviathan to keep humans enslaved. All right. Finally, we have Mars and Cancer in the 6th house. Mars in the 6th house of Cancer will affect these parts of humanity in the positive for those who will survive, and against those who will not. Service, serving, time, schedules, routine, health, medical care, diseases, wellness, exercise, plants, herbs, pharmacy, pets, and responsibility. All the things that the so-called guilty are enjoying, whether they thousandaires, millionaires, billionaires, whatever the case is, because the key word here is guilty, and the laws of nature don't consider you guilty because you got thousands and millions of dollars. It's what those people do with these money and how they make it which makes them guilty on a larger scale. All right, so in the 6th house, is going to be affected by what? Self-improvement, service, employment, work, business, routines, health, and nutritious duty. All the things that the elite have, or those who got money, got personal trainers, and they get food brought over from all over the place. They eating healthy while we eat messed up. They getting, they got access to clean water and underground lakes and rivers and all this stuff, and they make everybody else have to buy bottled water while they can just get it fresh. All these things that these people are enjoying is going to switch. It's switching now. So pay attention. Now we look into other sources that seem to know something is happening in that same year.
Pope Francis delivered an important message on the occasion of a public holiday, the 150th anniversary of the Declaration of Rome as the capital of Italy. He took the opportunity to remind of the approaching Ordinary Jubilee to take place in 2025. He didn't say what the theme will be. It's the first time the Pope publicly mentions the upcoming Jubilee. Pope Francis organized the previous Jubilee, an extraordinary one, in 2015 and 2016. It was dedicated to mercy. The Jubilee in 2025 will be ordinary, as it is in keeping with the norm of leaving a 25-year margin between each one. The previous Ordinary Jubilee took place in the year 2000, during John Paul II's pontificate. It was the event with which the Catholic Church prepared to enter into the 3rd millennium.
For the record, our nephew Satuna Jutah Kino Noopooh Black Karma Justice Power did not derive his 2025 year from any human source or spirit. It was directly given by myself, Satuna. Let this be known. And for the record, Satuna is the goddess of time. So she knows what the times is and what dates and things like that. Just for the record. Alright? The Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, will end in 2025. Thousands of years of extending yugas to follow. So it's talking about extending. Remember, we did a video a couple videos back. I think Don't Carry That Beef. I think from video 5, 6, 7, and 8 talks about the ascendant sign and the descendant sign of the universe, or the SMAT circle of order. All right, go back and catch that. A number of ancient cultures believed in a cycle of world ages in which we gradually descend from a state of spiritual perfection excuse me, and material abundance. In ancient India, this was called the Yuga cycle. The Yuga cycle doctrine tells us that we are now living in the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, when moral value and mental capabilities reach their lowest point in the cycle. The Mahabharata describes the Kali Yuga as the period when the world soul is black in hue. Only 1/4 of virtue remains, which slowly dwindles to zero at the end of the Kali Yuga. Men turn to wickedness, disease, lethargy, anger, natural calamities, anguish, and fear for scarcity dominate. Listen to reason. In noon science, when the SMAT circle reaches past 3 to 0, it is the end of existence. Alright, so this is the Kali Yuga. Y'all can look this up. So those of us who know, this is just a SMAT circle, but they have an outrageous amount of time. When you look into the Kali Yuga, their time is out there. But those of us, you can see that this is the top half, the golden time period, and you got a gold period, which is summer. Remember, fall is orange, so this really should be up here according to the SMAT. You know, the silver would be like the evolution side, things like that. But they don't have a color for revolution, which would be like green. All right, this side will be white, but this is their version of the SMAT circle: space, matter, and time. All right, and we're here where the red arrow is at, 3 south. All right. Okay, here is our version of 3210 in the nature books. So we up here. So when energy can't go and generate higher, which is going this way, and the energy start to deteriorate, we're going down. Nature book 2, page 26. All right. This is the wheel of time and existence, that is time and the many changes that time produces and matter exists in a circle. How we determine the right combination of numbers to use on a circle is that the digits must be single and consecutive, excuse me, and must add up to 9. 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 72, and 7 plus 2 equals 9, and the digits must divide the circle into 12 equal parts like the zodiac, because the digits 1 and 2 are left out in order for the circle to add up to 9. A circle must add up to 9 because a perfect circle is 9 by nature. Evolution starts at 6 on the left side of the circle of time and goes counterclockwise through 5 and 4 and ends in 3. 6 pushes the circle down on the left side and 9 pulls it up on the right, as you can determine by this drawing. In time, we are now at the end of 3 on the circle, and Nubian forces 9 are beginning to pull us Nubians up by mind in time. The bottom half of the circle of time is the dead, and the top half of the circle is 9, the living. So we are now headed back towards the living in mind, and our physical activities will follow. The position of the other digits around the circle are determined by 9, because the 9 being the highest digit, of course, its position must be at the top of the circle. Notice in this drawing that the digits 2 and 1 and the cipher 0 successfully reverse the rotation of the circle to a clockwise spin, which is a spin of chaos in space and matter and time. In other words, when the time comes that evolution degenerates matter below the strength of 3, the cycle of the Caucasian race and ghost universe will then start breaking up and return to primeval chaos. A counterclockwise rotation in space, matter, time is order. That is the universe. 9 ball 3, 1 through 3. So this is the Kali, different Kali Yugas they got. So they had one that was 12,676 BCE and ended 9,976 BCE, which is before Christian era, 2,700 years. Then they had another transitional period from 9,976 to 9,676 BCE. So you jump all the way down. So you had as many as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Look at that. 9. Let's count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you already know 9 is our number. And look at it. Extending Kali Yuga, the Iron Age, 676 BCE, 2025 Christian era, 2,700 years between. You see? So evidently, people seems to be knowing something, except you. But guess what? Nature has already informed us through noon. So once again, the question will be asked: Yuga cycle timeline based on the Saptarshi calendar. According to this interpretation, Kali Yuga ends in 2025 to be followed by a 300-year transitional period leading up to what? The extending Dharpa Yuga. We already been extending since February 5th, 1962. All right. So again, this right here is just saying the same thing about 210. It's the same thing that they were saying about 1/4 virtue remains will slowly dwindle to zero at the end of the Kali Yuga. So 72 million years from now, the Kali Yuga will not be able to continue. It will dwindle down past 3. All right, true mental cosmic peace in martial wartime.